Stop settling for chunky smoothies that get stuck in your straw. If you want cafe-quality frozen drinks at home, you need a blender that actually crushes ice rather than just swirling it around until the motor burns out. In this video, I'm taking you through a deep dive of 7 highly rated options, ranging from budget-friendly personal cups to high-speed countertop beasts. Stick around, because the difference between the number 7 spot and the number 1 spot is absolutely massive, and the winner might actually surprise you with how affordable it is compared to the big luxury brands. Number 7. GDOR SF7013. On paper, this machine looks like a beast. It boasts a 1200 watt motor and claims to be a professional grade smoothie blender. When I first unboxed it, I was relatively impressed by the design. It doesn't look cheap sitting on the counter. The interface is simple enough, featuring a variable speed dial and a few switches for pulse and power. It also comes with a self-cleaning function, which is a feature I usually love because cleaning blenders is the worst part of owning one. However, once I started actually using it, the budget nature of this product became very apparent. While it claims 1200 watts of power, it doesn't feel like it delivers that power efficiently to the blade. When I tossed in my standard mix of frozen berries, banana, and a cup of ice, the motor made a lot of noise, and I mean a lot of noise, but the blending action was inconsistent. It struggled to create that vortex you need to pull ingredients down. I found myself having to stop the machine multiple times to scrape down the sides or add more liquid than I really wanted, just to get it to catch. The ice crushing capability is where I have the biggest issue and why it sits at number 7. The manufacturer suggests using the pulse feature for ice, but even then, it felt like a chore. Instead of obliterating the ice into snow, it left behind several pea-sized chunks that ruined the texture of the drink. It's one thing to have a smoothie, but it's another to have to chew your smoothie. For a blender that markets itself as a heavy-duty ice crusher, the results were underwhelming. Another downback that became annoying over time was the lid seal. It's tight, which is good for safety, but it's almost too difficult to remove, and if you don't align it perfectly, the safety mechanism prevents the motor from starting. While I appreciate safety, the finicky nature of the locking mechanism added friction to my morning routine. Number 6. Nutribullet NBR-1101. This little silver bullet is practically legendary in the world of personal blending, and for good reason. It's small, it's incredibly simple to use, and it doesn't take up any space. You just toss your ingredients in the cup, screw on the blade, and push it down. There are no buttons, no speeds to worry about, and it comes with a bunch of different cups so everyone in the house can have their own. But we have to be real about what this machine is and what it isn't. The motor is only 250 watts. In the world of blending ice and frozen fruit, 250 watts is incredibly underpowered. During my testing, the Nutribullet struggled significantly the moment I introduced anything harder than a fresh banana. When I tried to make a slushy-style drink with just ice and juice, the motor sounded like it was in pain. The blade spun, but the ice just bounced around, eventually melting rather than being crushed. The texture of the smoothies produced by the Nutribullet is noticeably grittier than any other blender on this list. It doesn't pulverize seeds or fibrous greens like spinach. It just chops them into tiny confetti. If you are drinking a green smoothie, you end up with bits of leaf stuck in your teeth. This is a major drawback if you are trying to sneak vegetables into your diet or if you are texture sensitive. Furthermore, because the cup is small and the motor is weak, it is very prone to jamming. I constantly had to do the Nutribullet shake, where you take the cup off the base, shake it violently to dislodge the frozen fruit stuck in the blades, and then try again. It defeats the purpose of a quick smoothie if you have to fight the machine for 5 minutes to get it to blend. 5. Nutribullet NBR-0601WM. This is the machine that really bridges the gap between a toy blender and a serious kitchen tool. With a 600 watt motor, it is more than double the power of the Nutribullet, and you can feel that difference immediately. The design is still minimalist, push to blend, but the base is heavier, the cups are larger, and the extractor blade looks much more substantial. When I ran the ice and frozen fruit test on the Nutribullet, the improvement was night and day compared to the Magic Bullet. The 600-watt motor actually has enough torque to break through frozen strawberries without immediately jamming. It creates a proper cyclonic action that pulls ingredients into the blades. I didn't have to stop and shake the cup nearly as often. The resulting texture was much smoother. While not perfectly silky, it eliminated the large chunks that the previous two blenders left behind. One of the things I really enjoyed about this unit is the ease of use. It is truly a grab-and-go experience. The cups are the perfect size for a single serving, and the fact that you blend right in the vessel you drink from means there is less cleanup. The gray finish looks sleek and modern, fitting well in any kitchen aesthetic. However, it is not without its limits. While it handles ice much better than the Magic Bullet, it still struggles if you overfill it with ice. You need to find the right ratio of liquid to solid. If you pack it too tight with ice, the blades will spin freely at the bottom while the ice forms a bridge above them. It requires a bit of learning to get that ratio perfect. I also noticed that for very fibrous ingredients, like raw kale stems or berry seeds, the 600-watt motor doesn't completely liquefy them. You might still get a slightly textured drink compared to the high-powered machines coming up later on the list. Number 4. Bear LLJ B12K1. This brand has been making waves recently, with appliances that focus on aesthetics as much as function, and this blender is a prime example. It features a really charming retro-style design with a control dial that feels satisfying to use. But don't let the cute look fool you. This machine is packing a 700-watt motor, peaking higher in some tests, which puts it a step above the standard personal blender. The standout feature for me with the Bear blender is the glass jar. Most blenders in this price range come with plastic pitchers that can scratch, cloud up, or hold on to odors over time. The Bear comes with a heavy, durable glass pitcher that feels premium and sanitary. It handled hot ingredients just as well as cold ones, which makes it versatile for soups as well as smoothies. In the ice test, the Bear surprised me. The blade design is quite aggressive, and the 3-speed control knob allows you to manually ramp up the power. I started on low to break up the big chunks and then switched to high to finish it off. It managed to turn a cup of ice into a respectable snow cone consistency. It wasn't instantaneous, but it was effective. The pulse function is also very responsive, giving you good control over the texture. The smoothie consistency was very creamy. Because of the tapered shape of the glass jar, ingredients tend to fall back onto the blades naturally, so I didn't have to use a tamper or stop to stir. It handled frozen bananas and spinach with ease, producing a vibrant green smoothie with no visible leaf chunks. If I had to nitpick, the capacity is a bit smaller than the massive countertop units, so it's better suited for couples or small families rather than huge parties. Also, glass is heavy, so if you have wrist issues, lifting the full pitcher might be a bit of a workout. 3. Ninja BL610. If you have ever looked for a blender online, you have seen this machine. It is famous for its total crushing technology, and let me tell you, that is not just marketing hype. This machine is an absolute beast when it comes to ice. It features a 1,000-watt motor and a unique blade tower that extends up through the pitcher, rather than just sitting at the bottom. This blade design is what sets the Ninja apart. Because the blades are at multiple heights, it obliterates ingredients at the top, middle, and bottom simultaneously. In my ice test, this was the first blender that turned ice cubes into fluffy, powdery snow in literally seconds. If you love margaritas, daiquiris, or slushies, this is the machine you want. It doesn't just crush ice, it atomizes it. The capacity is also massive, 72 ounces. You can make smoothies for the entire family in one go. During my testing, I threw in whole fruits, handfuls of kale, and rock-hard ice, and the Ninja chewed through it without hesitating. It has a very industrial feel to it. The lid locks on with a sturdy click, and the buttons are simple and rugged. The reason it sits at number 3 and not number 1 is largely due to the texture of green smoothies. While the stacked blade tower is amazing for ice, it's slightly less effective at creating that ultra-smooth juice bar consistency for leafy greens. It tends to chop them into microscopic bits rather than fully liquefying them. The texture is still great, but it has a slightly more fibrous feel than the top 2 contenders. 2. Aeitto blenders, Generation 2. This is a machine that aims to compete with the high-end luxury brands like Vitamix, but at a fraction of the cost. It boasts a staggering 1500-watt motor, which makes it the most powerful blender on our list in terms of raw wattage. When I tested the Aeitto, I was blown away by the sheer torque. You can hear the power the moment you turn it on. It features a digital control panel with preset programs for ice crushing, smoothies, and juices, which takes the guesswork out of the process. I simply pressed the smoothie button and walked away. The blender automatically varied its speed, pulsing and revving to ensure everything was blended perfectly. The texture this machine produced was phenomenal. It completely liquefied the kale, seeds, and skins of the fruit. The result was a silky, velvety drink that rivaled anything I've bought at a professional smoothie shop. The 68-ounce pitcher is large and well-designed, creating a strong vortex that pulls everything down into the 8-blade assembly. It also comes with a tamper, which is a crucial tool for professional blending. If you are making something super thick, like an acai bowl or peanut butter, you can use the tamper to push ingredients into the blades without stopping the machine. This is a feature usually reserved for much more expensive models. The ice crushing capability was effortless. It didn't struggle or stall, it just powered through. The only reason it missed the number 1 spot is that it is a very large, bulky machine that takes up a lot of counter space. It's tall, and the brand is slightly less established than our winner. But purely on performance, the Aeitto is a powerhouse that delivers incredible value for the money. Oster BLSTMB CBG000 Oster Pro 1200. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for. The number 1 best blender for smoothies and ice is the Oster Pro 1200. This blender takes the top spot because it hits the perfect sweet spot of performance, durability, and features, all while being incredibly affordable. The secret weapon of the Oster Pro is its dual-direction blade technology. The blades can spin forward and backward. This might sound like a gimmick, but in practice, it is a game changer. If a chunk of frozen fruit or ice gets stuck, the blender automatically reverses direction to dislodge it and then continues blending. This virtually eliminates the jamming issues I faced with the other blenders. I never had to stop and shake the jar. The blender fixed itself. It features a 1200-watt motor, which is plenty of power for any task. In my ice test, it produced a texture that was arguably better than even the Ninja. It was fine, consistent and snow-like. But unlike the Ninja, the standard blade design at the bottom meant it also excelled at liquefying greens. My spinach and berry smoothies came out perfectly smooth with zero grit. Another massive plus is the Boro-class glass jar. It is durable, thermal shock resistant, and dishwasher safe. It feels substantial and high quality compared to the plastic pitchers of competitors. The interface is intuitive, with dedicated buttons for green frozen smoothies and food chopped salsa. The pre-programmed smoothie cycle is excellent. It pulses and changes speeds to ensure a perfect blend every time. The Oster Pro 1200 also has a wider base than most blenders, which allows food to fall into the blades more easily. It's not the quietest machine, but it's not as deafening as the Ninja.